I'm Blossom.
And I'm Divine.
And today we are going to be reviewing
Mary Poppins opens the door and Mary Poppins in the park.
But before we start, how are you guys doing this week? As for us, we're doing
Great.
Yes, we are. And we're reviewing books for you guys. And of course, as we promised, we are going to be reviewing Mary Poppins Opens the Door and Mary Poppins in the Park. P.L. Travis was born on the 9th of August 1899 in Australia and sadly died on the 23rd of April 1996 in London, England. She was an Australian-British author and writer who spent most of her career in England. One of her famous books, as we said in the last video, is actually Mary Poppins. And she has a whole series of those books. 5 to 6 books. Her full name is Pamela Lyndon Travers. Now let's review the books. First, I'm going to be reviewing Mary Poppins Opens the Door. So let me read you guys the blurb so you have a little idea of what it is about. Up in the sky, a tiny spark hovered and swayed in the darkness. What could it be? Still they waited, and still the spark grew even larger and brighter. Then suddenly, Jane caught her breath, and Michael gave a gasp. Down came the spark, growing longer and wider, and as it came, it took on the shape that was strange and also familiar. Out of the glowing core of the light emerged a curious figure. A figure in a black straw hat and a coat trimmed with silver buttons. Mary Poppins is back in the third book in the classic series. When I read this blurb, I was like, finally, Mary Poppins is back. She keeps going out to the west wind, as we said in the last video, and she comes back into the east wind. So, yes, yeah, that's true. So, she comes back and she's doing really good, and she goes on much more adventures with the children, which is so cool. She goes on much more adventures, as in the last video. I feel like it's my own little kind of world, and it's so cool. I also like one of the chapters, which is actually called Mr. Twiggly's Wishes, where they help this man called Mr. Twiggly, and he has wishes, and it's so cool because it's like magic, like Aladdin, the genie and the lamp and stuff. He has wishes where he can wish on stuff. I like this book because of how Mary Poppins is back. She helps the kids. They go on so many new adventures, and now we're going to focus on the blurb and how they really used good grammatical stuff. They used good punctuation and really good English and grammar. So I really like how they said up in the sky, a tiny spark hovered and swayed in the darkness. Like a spark cannot really sway in the darkness. And it's really cool how they used, I think it's called personification, where a thing can do a human action. Like a spark cannot sway in the darkness. I really like how they used that. I really like how they said, what could it be? They don't want you to answer the question, so it's like a rhetorical question. So I really like that. And I really like how they say, down came the spark, growing longer and wider. I really like how they're using a lot of nice grammar, and they're using really nice, like, down came the spark, and like a sentence opener. I really like it because you can read this blurb and you can be like, okay, I want to do a little blurb of Mary Poppins maybe, or something, another book of my own. You can actually take some ideas of this blurb and actually use it for yourself, which I really like about. I also like the cover. As I said, not too much things going on. Very simple. Yellow, white, not too much things like 3D, all those. But of course, it wasn't there back then. But I still really like how it's simple. sometimes the books I feel like are not, I'm not going to say any names, but some books are too much, and I feel like this is just calm and okay. I like the drawing where Mary Poppins is just, I think maybe she's knitting a scarf or a little like blanket or some socks for someone or the babies or the children, and I really like how they're just sitting on the bench and they look all calm, and they're just all calm, all quiet and everything. I also love this book because of the style of writing, of her style of writing. I love P.L. Travers's style of writing. I think it's really good. So now I'm going to be reviewing Mary Poppins in the Park, of course, by P.L. Travers as well. Let me just read you guys the blurb so you have a little idea of what it is
about.
But before we do that, Divine, what do you think is going to happen in this book?
I think that Mary Poppins will be in the park and she will lose her bag.
Oh, okay.
Because in all of these things,
all the pictures,
she always has her bag with her.
Okay. So you think that she might lose her bag?
Yeah.
What else do you think is going to happen?
And they will find it, and she will have to go back when the wind will change, and then she'll have to go and say bye to the children.
That's a really good description. I really like how you think that maybe she might lose her bag, and you're using your inference skills. Inference is like it's not what you see in the cover. It's like what you think ahead of it. So I'm really happy of how you use those skills where you're like, what will happen in the book? I don't see the bag. Maybe she lost her bag. Really good, Divine. Just gonna high five you because we're on camera, who cares? Now let me read you guys the blurb so you have a little idea of what it is about. Mary Poppins, neat and trim in her blue skirt and a new hat trimmed with a crimson tulip, looked at them over her knitting. She was sitting bolt upright against the tree with a plaid rug spread on the lawn around her. Her handbag sat tidily by her side, and above her, from a flowering branch, the parrot umbrella dangled. Join Mary Poppins and the Banks children on more adventures, the fourth book in the classical series.
Now I read the blurb, her bag is with her.
So what do you think is going to happen now?
I think now they're just going to be in the park chilling, just being their normal self.
Because her handbag was sat tidily by her side.
So it looks like it was
not there. Maybe it was there, guys. Maybe you can't see, of course we can't. But maybe it was just
like blending in with her clothes.
Yeah. So now what do you think is going to happen?
Now I think they're just going to be in the park chilling, and then maybe they have to go home and they see. You said that in
they have a lot of magical adventures.
Yeah, so probably they're going to have like a cool adventure, like then they're just, and then it's going to be like the wind will change and she'll go home.
That's a really good description, and I still really liked how you thought, the handbag wasn't there. Where's the handbag? I think she lost the handbag. I still like how you really looked at the picture carefully, even though she looked there for only 2 seconds. She looked at the picture very carefully, like, the handbag is not there. I can see you in 2 seconds. Oh my gosh, the handbag's not there. Where is the handbag? Where did she keep her handbag? She's always taking her handbag. So, very good inference skills. I like this book. Again, of course, you guys know now, I focus a bit more on the blurb. I like how the very nice punctuation, grammar and everything. And I think the first paragraph was really effective, saying neat and trim in her blue skirt and her new hat trimmed with a crimson tulip. Crimson is red, just so you guys know. Red. Crimson means red. But I really like how they used another word for red, because if you just say a new hat's trimmed with a red tulip, it's not really that effective.
But crimson.
Crimson, yeah, you're like, oh, crimson, nice. And crimson is a shade of red, because there's so many shades of red.
There's dark red, there's light,
there's vermilion, which is kind of like lightish red. You've got a lot of those reds. Also, when they're saying sitting bolt upright against the tree, you're thinking, if she's sitting bolt upright, it looks like this. She's just sitting upright, nice and tall.
Head up.
Not slanting like this, all nice and tall.
She's just like...
Yeah, maybe like that. Just knitting. So, yeah. So, I also like this book because of the beautiful tree and the branches.
The
love this.
tree is like the main part of the...
Yes.
In the park.
So I'm wearing this flower.
And this is why I have a bird on my top. Because birds are in the park and stuff.
Yes, and I love those cute dogs, and the children, they're just resting. And
Wait, do they have dogs now?
I don't actually. No, I don't think they do actually have dogs. They're just there because in the park you see dogs and everything.
Yeah, and dogs parking.
Walking. I liked the chapter Lucky Thursday because in the other books, I didn't really talk about it, but in the other books there was a bad Tuesday, a bad Wednesday, but a lucky Thursday. So that was a bit okay.
Tuesday,
cool.
Wednesday, Thursday. What? Soon there's going to be a lucky Friday or something.
Yeah, something about Friday. So, yes. I love how they still go on much more adventures. So nice. You get to see a bit of a world that you've never been in before. And as I said, if you read this, you're like, I know what Mary Poppins looks like. You at least have an image in your head. So, yeah. Now Divine's going to ask me some questions. Over to you, Divine.
Or Mary Poppins opens the door. Who's your favourite character and why?
My favourite character is Mary Poppins and Jane. Mary Poppins because she is very nice, getting a bit nicer, getting a bit more open, and she shows them a bit more new adventures, magic, and it's just amazing. Like it just shows you a new world. And I like Jane because of course she's trying to be the big sister, trying her best. I think it was her birthday in this book or something, and she still helped her siblings in a lot of things, just like I do.
Yeah. For Mary Poppins in the park, same question.
Mary Poppins because actually all of them, because they're all nice, they're all working together to go to a new world, and I feel like that's cool. Also Mary Poppins because she's the one who gives them the magic for this new world. So yeah.
Mary Poppins opens the door. How many stars would you give it?
I would give this Mary Poppins opens the door 5 stars because I particularly loved the chapter Mr. Twiggly's Wishes. I just loved it. So, yes.
The same question for Mary Poppins in the park.
I'm actually being nice today and giving this 5 stars because of the grammar, the really good description, the crimson, like not using, red tulip, crimson tulip. Like, I feel like that was really good.
Who would you recommend it for?
Oh, okay. I would recommend it for 9 and over for both books.
And it actually says 9 and over, 9 plus.
Yes, 9 plus. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
Then please
like, share and subscribe.
And hit the notification bell so you always know when there's a new video. Before we say see you next time on the Siblings World, we are going to be reviewing next Mary Poppins in Cherry Tree Lane and Mary Poppins in the House Next Door. So watch out for that, 11:45. See you next time on the
Siblings World. Bye!